The military has using very high-level sophisticated technologies that have never been introduced to the public, and often military members of black covert ops, etc., under deep mind control. And you cannot be in military special forces without being under mind control. There's no such thing. It's all mind control now today. It's not about John Wayne bravada, do you understand? Mm-hmm. And brawn. It's all about mind control. So there are all these components to consider. And there's always stories behind the scenes. So there have been destructions of underground bases, there have been wars, there have been all kinds of battles, and usually the people of Earth nature involved in these, quote, ET battles. There's been battles on the moon, battles in space. You've been involved in a space war for, let's say, since the late 80s or something like this, an active space war. Even before, when did Ronald Reagan talk about Star Wars? Technology. 1980s, early 1980s. Your Star Wars movies came out about in the early 80s. So from then onwards, you were working in sort of a covert ET battle, underground, underneath the surface, up in the heavens. And the reason you don't hear about it is because the people involved in this are often destroyed. Their families are killed. They are sworn to secrecy. That used to be the old way. Now today their memories are wiped. They don't even remember what they are involved in. That's why if you know people that are in the military, especially in the last 20 years in the military, they are often like zombies afterwards. They don't remember anything. They are put out to pasture like an old horse, but they can't remember anything they've done. They don't wait now to see if we can trust this person and we control them by threat. The technology is to wipe their minds so that they don't know. So these are all facets and components of the ET issue that is really, really building some force here. And it's not a simple thing to bring out to the public or to discuss. Number one, because it has so many facets to it and so many various agendas, and they are still attempting to figure out who all these beings are. And some of the beings that they are dealing with are humans from the future who have come back. Humans who got too fried in space don't even look human anymore. And the other thing about the ET issue is that it is multidimensional. It is not a purely rational, linear experience. It means the beings can show up and then they disappear. So how do you introduce them to your family? Do you understand? Mom, let me introduce... Whoops, he must have disappeared for a while here. You can laugh now, but how do you introduce this to the public? Something that appears to have form and doesn't have form, something that you cannot communicate with. For decades, since the 50s, since much of this contact, because after the atomic bombs were let off, the ETs started coming in droves because the atomic energy blew open the continuity of what your beliefs and space-time continuum set up. And then these ETs start coming in, giving you technology, demanding all kinds of things. Much of the technology that you have on your world today was bartered for with ETs. All the stuff the government has, they made deals with ETs to get this stuff. And what did they trade? They traded resources and humans, animals, things of this nature. So that some ETs could do genetic experiments. For what reason? Just to have fun with genes? No. To revitalize their own species, to make new life, or to build a new hybrid human that ETs could breed with. These are all part of the story. How do you explain this to the public? Do you understand the complexities of these things? Anything else, Marty?
Yeah, I have a question about the giants, too.
Yes.
Your vehicle was saying earlier how there's giants that are asleep all over the world.
Yes.
One question is, what would awake them and what would their intentions be once they are awoken?
You are a good thinker. This is good. You know how to listen and then put things together and jump to what is this about. Now, Remember, we have suggested that the events that you are going to start occurring with greater rapidity are going to shatter your concepts of linear time. It may be shock to many on the nervous system, but you are naturally multidimensional. If you are in touch with knowing that you are multidimensional, that you've lived before, even if you don't know when or how, it will not be so hard on your nervous system. But linear time has trapped you in fear and trapped you in ignorance. So that must go. You will still tell time, you will still have a calendar. You will just not be so entrapped in it. And your science will blossom once it steps out of the ignorance of say, mainstream science being in linear time. The hidden science is multidimensional. The science that the global elite have behind the scenes. So now, what would be the intentions of these giants? First of all, they would come from a simultaneous multidimensional time, and they would have been seeded around the planet and they would have volunteered for it, and they would have used their technology to create, let's say, environments, chambers, compartments that would sustain them. And they would have been able to see from, quote, their past, in your terms, into, quote, a future, your future. And they would have prepared themselves then to seed themselves into the future. And all the while they would be in stasis or asleep. They are dreaming. To you they may be in coma, but you have learned that even when people are in coma, they have brainwave activity. And these are big dreamers and big beings. And in some way, some of them help stabilize your world. And they will awaken. Marty wants to know what will awaken them. They have a built-in, let's say, sensory device within their own programming, that when certain frequencies are produced on the surface of the planet, these frequencies will be felt by them, and then certain fail-safes to keep them in stasis will fall away, and they will start to awaken. And as some awaken, their minds would be active and alert. And just like if you have a kitty cat and it's sitting around and it's just mellow as can be, then suddenly perks right up, jumps to the window because there's a bird there. Do you understand? Didn't see the bird. It sensed the bird. Or your dogs. They will come to the door and wait for you. They don't see you, they know you, they sense you. These giants will sense. We're making it very simple. And a few will awaken. And then they will awaken others because their minds will be activated and they will telepath to the other giants to awaken. And then we'll see what happens.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
These are not ferocious giants that are been like stating their hunger for all these years and are going to feast on you. These are very sophisticated beings. They are not going to come and destroy your city and you're not going to have monsters out of them. They are highly accentuated, evolved beings. And the native peoples all around the globe, many have been assigned a caretaking role. And it is passed down through generation upon generation. Some of these giants have been in stasis for a long, long time, 10,000 years. Others have been in stasis for 3,000, some of them. The big ones have been in for a long, long time. In 500 years ago, on your planet, there were giants, definitely. But they were already shrinking. They were 15 feet, 12 feet, 18 feet. They were not 50 feet. You understand? Those are very old, very wise. And the native people know about this. They are in North America. They are not just in the Four Corner region. One of the most stable regions of the North American continent is the Appalachian mountain chain. It is filled with granite rock, yes?